Hello? Is this on? How is this working? Just kidding. You thought your grandma was calling you for a minute. This is Sage from Put Sage on It Barbecue. Thank you for joining me today. As always, I before we get started here, I just wanted to apologize. I've been gone for a while. I've had some pressing family matters, some personal issues I had to attend to. That's taken my priority as it should. But aside from that, I'm also a wedding DJ, a wedding officiant. I marry people, DJ the receptions. I've been doing that on the weekends here and there as well. But today, I'm back for a moment. And my hope was to cook beef ribs today. Beef ribs are hard to find. And I could get on a whole soapbox about it. And I like to, trust me, but I'll try not to. But I'll just say this, then I'll stop. There's like 2 ribs to every cow, right? There's at least as many cows as there are pigs, right? Like there should be. We're eating an awful lot of beef in the United States. So that being said, you go into any butcher shop, any supermarket, 99% of the time it's pork ribs. You just won't hardly ever see beef ribs. You have to ask the butcher specifically for them, and only then will you maybe get it. And still, more than likely, they'll say we don't have any. My personal opinion, I think these are more often than not swiped by the butchers, for their personal use, for probably some black market stuff going on, who knows. But anyway, I promised I wouldn't get on a soapbox. I'm going to try not to. So, in my attempt to find beef ribs, which I was unsuccessful, I ran across something else that you, for whatever reason, don't see a whole lot of in a supermarket. That is pork belly. Oh my goodness, yes. Now, I have never smoked pork belly. Like I've always said on this channel, I am forever a student of barbecue. Yes, I've learned enough to teach. I teach the fundamentals of barbecue here, right? We're talking, you know, time, temperature, moisture, things that matter that you can apply across the board. But this, I've never actually smoked this. And on top of that, I had already had in my mind to use not a traditional smoker today, not a smoker at all. I was going to make campfire ribs, cowboy ribs, but again, now I'm switching tactics to pork belly, but it's a steel fire pit. It has legs on it, rectangular steel fire pit. I'm going to use all wood today, oak wood planks. So I'm pretty excited about it. This thing has a screened lid on it that I'm going to enclose in foil so that I can contain heat, contain smoke. I'm hoping to get a little char going on, a little of that, again, a little of that sort of like grilling, like when you make hot dogs and you like it various amounts of doneness. I like to get a little of that ash char kind of thing going on, but still get that smoke flavor and, combine the grates of grilling with the grates, Greats, for lack of a better explanation, of smoking meat. So we're going to see what comes out of this. I'm going to get to it. Okay, so this is my pork belly. It's got a beautiful layer of fat on it. Oh, it varies, but about an 1/8 inch probably throughout. I've already taken a paper towel and just patted this dry, so I recommend you do that to get that excess moisture off the meat before you start. And then you're going to want a good sharp fillet knife. This one works nicely. And just remember when you do this, we're going to score that fat cap a little bit. Just don't go too deep. And we're doing this just to allow some more of that flavor just to get down into the meat a little bit, from the bottom side. And like I say, just remember that fat cap isn't a very thick one. So I'm not going to go crazy here. You can do this any way you like as far as, how far you go in between your lines. You can do it every inch. You can do it every 3 inches. Again, it's just to get some flavor to penetrate there. And again, I'm being as careful as I can, but I don't expect to be perfect either. Okay. Okay, so my audio dropped out. So essentially, I'm just going to recap for you. You saw I was doing some scoring there. I just scored this in a crisscross pattern. Um, After that, basically, I took some extra virgin olive oil and coated this just as a binder. Then I put some dark brown sugar on it. Let me get that in frame. Dark brown sugar, wanted to get a little bit of a bolder flavor today as far as my sweetener. And I used what I got today, some Jack Daniel's pork rub. So that brings us to where we are here. So we've scored it, we've coated it. Now let's get our makeshift smoker going. All right, real quick for the setup. As I've said, I got kind of a steel, well, it is a steel fire pit. Got a big, thick piece of oak starting to catch fire here. So I've got a screened lid that I've covered in foil. So it's got plenty of cracks for, ventilation, for smoke, air to escape. If not, I'll make a bigger hole. But we'll see as we go. Again, because I don't want dirty smoke. I want this to be able to contain some smoke, but to be able to ventilate well too. And I've got a grate that goes over top of this. I'm going to keep the hot coals on one side, keep my pork belly on the other, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, I'm back. I went ahead and moved that pork belly back into the fridge. I don't like to do that in and out of the fridge, back and forth stuff, but I had to buy a little time just because that wood plank that I bought, it's oak and it's about, that thick. Just taking a little bit longer than I thought to cook down. I want that to kind of ash over because, again, I want my smoke to be as clean as possible. I don't want active combustion, really going on at its peak level when I've got that meat on the smoker. But anyway, so like I told you before, I've got a grate that's going to go over that. That's what our meat's going to sit on. But I also want to protect that food since it's going to be so close to that fire. Now it does have a fat cap on the bottom, but it's not a real thick one. And so I want to take the opportunity to add a little flavor as well as protect my meat. So I've got some onions here, and I'm literally just going to cut them in half. This is what my meat's going to lay on. Going to get more than two, obviously. So again, that's what we're going to do. We're just cutting them in half. And I'm going to lay enough of these out on the grate, just like so. The meat will actually lay right on top of that, and it'll protect that from the heat a little bit. So I'm going to finish that. Check on that wood plank and see if we can't get this thing going. Okay, guys, I want to tell you, this is taking much longer. It's after 2 o'clock. Kudos to people who are good at building fires. I try to rush it, and if you don't build a good coal bed, you just try to burn a big ass stick of wood, for lack of a better expression, pardon my French. You're just going to cost yourself time. So take your time, use kindling, do it right. But anyway, I got this on the smoker, as you can see. That's my pork belly. Fat cap down. Got it laying on the onions, just like I said. So that fire is pretty stable now. So I just got a big stick of wood in there. Sorry, I'm just taking you with me here. Now I'm just going to cover that with my lid. Okay. So, as you can see, I did poke a little hole here. I want a little air intake. Don't want that fire to starve. Let that go ahead and get some oxygen. And as you can see, there's plenty of places for the smoke to escape. So I have no idea what the internal temperature in there is. I'm just going to have to monitor that as we go. But, well, by golly, don't tell me we don't have a smoker. All right, we'll check on it in about an hour. Okay, it's worth mentioning, I poked the intake hole where the fire is, if you'll notice. And I did poke a little chimney hole here in the top, over top of the meat. And I'm going to get a little can of water and put in there, so I don't want to be remiss on that. So just know that there'll be a can of water in there for moisture. Okay, so if you're wondering if it's hot in West Virginia today, it is. It is absolutely miserable outside. So to recap, I've gotten just a late start already today. And like I said, take your time building your fire. I wasted a good hour and change. I just thought I'd take a big, thick, solid piece of oak and put a fire starter underneath it and it'd take off. No, just burnt the fire starter up. The wood just fizzled out. Then I did it again and then again. Rinse, lather, and repeat. Finally, you gotta take your time. I got some kindling, some charcoal, just a few pieces of charcoal just to build an ash bed. Probably just 10, 15 pieces of charcoal. And so I let that get good and hot and build a little coal bed and then put the, like I said, the charcoal, the kindling, and then the big piece of wood on top. And it took off, so it worked. But again, I wasted a lot of time. And like I say, it is stupid hot out there. So I'm trying not to be out there if I don't have to. I did take a thermometer and just kind of drop down in the top close to where my meat was just to kind of get a gauge on how hot it is inside of that. And it was like 400 immediately. So I had to kind of prop the lid up and just let a lot of the heat escape and let the wood burn down a little bit more. And then after the wood burnt down a little more, dropped the lid back on and checked it. Now it's like 250. So that's good. So I'll just keep checking and I'll let it burn down and then add another piece of wood as I need. But for now, I'm just going to get something cold to drink. Just sit inside. And if you're in the same situation, I would hope you do the same. I've been drinking Mountain Dew, but I think I'm going to make a little switch here to something a little stronger maybe. We'll see. Not too much. Got to cook. All right. See you guys in a little bit. I'm already starving, and I just started this cook. And stop thinking about this pork belly. I wanna lay you down in a bed of onions. Okay, so I just come out to check on this thing. So I got my probe here. Now it's going to run it deep over into that intake hole, for lack of a better description. Just to kind of get an idea of what's going on in there. It's hard to do this and see with the camera. Alright, so we're still good in there. I mean, it's 240, 250, 260. Oh yeah, we're still plenty hot in there. There, it's leveled out there about 268. Alright. So there's my exhaust. I know you can't see this. I'm very sorry. 253. All right, so we're getting up about 260. I don't want to hold that in there for a week, but I'm worried that a lot of that's residual heat. I don't want to get this too hot. I do want to see how much that like coal bed is like burnt to basically just ash. I may have to add a stick of wood. I don't know. We'll see. I'll check it. Yeah, so just as I suspected. I mean, yeah, that's putting off heat, but there's just barely anything there. I mean, this is broken down to, if I just let this go, it wouldn't go, another 30 minutes probably. The heat would drop rapidly. So it's time to add a stick of wood. I don't like getting this close to the fire, or close to my meat, I should say. I wonder if I got a shorter piece. Let me check. Oh, nothing doing. Just gonna have to put up with this thing. I wish it was shorter, but I'm gonna start letting that combust here. See how hot that is. Hot. That's hot. So I'm gonna go ahead and cover that back up. Let that start cooking. Definitely getting some color to it. I don't suspect it's getting anywhere close to done. It may be cooking faster than what I thought here. Alright guys, again, first time cooking pork belly. I went ahead and put another log on, but I'm checking the temperature here. This is telling me it's time to wrap. 166. The collar looks good. So again, kind of a newbie here, but I'm running that probe in several different places here. This is the thickest part here. 154 or something. And I'm just getting them onions out of there at this point. Oh yeah. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, 166. I'm going to take this off and wrap it. So that's where we're at. I'm going to take this off and wrap it. And again, I know I just stuck that wood on there, but I'm not going to waste any more wood. I'm going to finish this in the oven. That's actually my new favorite way to finish something I'm smoking. Because I'm going to tell you right now, you can save on wood, save on charcoal, whatever you're using, go ahead and do it. So I'm going to do that. I'll wrap this, put it in the oven, cook this to about 203 like I would a brisket. Put those onions in there with it, and we'll see, at least one, and we'll see how it turns out. Okay guys, I brought this inside. You probably can't see that. Again, this is cooled off for a few minutes after taking it off. It's running about, I've checked it in several places. It's about 158. It was 160 out there. Like I said, it's been a few minutes. So that just goes to show you, don't always listen to, basically just generic instructions. Just keep an eye on your meat. I'm glad I checked this when I did, because I saw people on YouTube that was like, let it go for 3 hours. It's literally been maybe an hour 45 for this to get to temp to where I want to wrap it. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I just brought it in. All I'm going to do is, I might add a little more brown sugar to it here. I think I will. Again, just to sweeten the pot. Just a little bit. Now, that said, I'm also going to hit it with a little, sorry, I'm in my own way, a little bit of honey, just a little honey. Nothing crazy, and I don't want to make this like super sweet, although it's, kind of going to be sweet at this point. But more than anything, that honey is also a form of a liquid. that'll help to keep that a little bit moist as it's cooking. So again, I'm just sprinkling some brown sugar on there, adding a little honey to it. And then there's these onions in here. So I'm just going to kind of slide a few of these onions up underneath as well, right? That way when that's baking, that'll kind of infuse into the flavor as well. So I'm going to wrap this, put it in the oven at 250, cook it to about 203, and then we'll see where we're at. This is a song for the broken hearted. I'm just kidding. It is for the broken hearted. But it ain't that kind of song. So it's intermission time, and I got a little microphone, so what else am I going to do? Jimmy was born in Bethlehem, Georgia. He grew up to be a carpenter by trade. We met 4 years ago out on a job site, and he said he just turned 29 on Christmas Day. Jimmy always had a hammer in his hand. I can still hear him driving those 10-penny nails. Sunday morning you'd find him at the Baptist church, giving thanks for his family, his friends, and his health. Jimmy and Jesus sure did have a lot in common. Both born in December in a town with the same name. Jimmy and Jesus worked hard every day, trying to make this old world a better place. His weekly paycheck barely paid his bills, but he could always find an extra 10 to lend a friend. And you'd hear him say, "We'll pay you back on Friday." And he'd say, "Don't worry about it." He'd just look at them and grin. Jimmy and Jesus sure did have a lot in common. They both give you the shirt right off their back. Jimmy and Jesus worked hard every day, trying to make this old world a better place. Looking back, I can't forget that rainy April afternoon when I slipped and fell while me and Jimmy were working on a roof. He reached out his hand and saved me from falling down, but he lost his balance, tumbled to the ground. Jimmy and Jesus sure did have a lot in common. They lived their lives unselfishly and died to save a friend. Jimmy and Jesus worked hard every day, trying to make this old world a better place. Trying to make this old world a better place. Okay guys, I just pulled this out of the oven and just took a quick temp of it, and it's right on the money. It's about where I want it to be. Feels really soft. So I think I'm just going to let this rest a little bit. Not too long, maybe 30 minutes. I'm hungry. Then we'll cut into it and we'll see what we got. Okay, guys, we're back. So I've let this rest a sufficient amount of time, 30, 40 minutes, something like that. So it's hot. Just going to kind of open it up here. Take a look. See what we see. And again, as you can see, the collar is just marvelous. Um, that's the fat cap there. You can see those onions. Boy, you can smell those onions in there. Caramelized onions. And I'm just going to scoot those out of the way. That would be just kind of in my way as I'm slicing. But so it's me and Bryce here this evening. Bryce really likes caramelized onions cooked in a lot of things, and I don't blame him. I see the benefit there. It's just adds so much fragrance, and flavor. I'm trying to see how I want to hold this, basically. I might use a fork. Just going to make some slices here. Oh my goodness. This is a fillet knife. I've got a knife that's better suited, to be honest. Wow, that's so tender. Which I might grab the old Big Daddy here. Just gonna slice. I'm cutting it kind of like you would brisket, I guess. Man, oh man. Beautiful looking inside. Look how moist that is. Very moist. Very tender. And again, I could keep cutting on this. Beautiful slices. Wow. Now I'll cut a little more. Kind of giving you a peek at this. Alright, so I'm going to grab the camera here. There you go. You get a little bird's eye view of what we're looking at. Boy, look at the inside of that. And you see that smoke on there? You see that? It's actually got a smoke ring to it. Very interesting. As you can see, that was just kind of a makeshift kind of looking smoker that we fashioned together there. Boy, that's beautiful. Let's take a taste. Okay, so I'm just gonna, no better way to do it. Grab a piece here. Like I say, you can see that. That's a thick piece. I could have cut this thinner, but I didn't want to. Oh my goodness, that is so good. Wow. It really, really, truly is. That is an absolute success. I'm shocked at how good that is. And again, I cooked this, and I got that advice from the internet. Cooked it basically like a brisket to like a brisket temp. Mm, it's so tender. So good. Love it. Try this. Like I said, sometimes you can still kind of make a smoker sort of if you don't actually have a smoker on hand. If you just get a little bit creative. And wow, this was such a wonderful success. And I'm just kind of getting back on the horse here today, so bear with me. Um, Hopefully this will pick tempo up a little bit. But thank you for joining me. Bon appetit. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.